New footage just dropped online, showing a violent attack caught on camera, and fans are convinced it's Foolio's affiliate finally taking revenge. But before we break down everything in that footage, we need to rewind and understand how this all started. Picture this. It's May 2017 in Jacksonville, Florida, a city already known for its high crime rate and gang activity. The streets were already hot. But what happened next would spark a war that's still raging today. Zion Malik Brown, an 18-year-old associated with KTA, was killed during a home invasion on Jacksonville's west side. This wasn't just any random shooting. Zion was the cousin of Charles Andrew Jones II, better known to the world as rapper Julio Foolio. That killing right there? That was the match that lit the whole damn powder keg. See, in the streets, blood calls for blood. And when you take someone's family, especially in the hood, and it came hard. Fast forward to June 2018, the streets of Jacksonville witnessed one of the most brutal retaliatory attacks in the city's recent history. We're talking about the town center shooting, the one that changed everything. Trevon Bullard, Royale Devon Smith Jr., and Jacob Deshad Groover. All ATK members were gunned down in what investigators believe was payback for Zion's death. But here's where it gets really personal. Trevon Bullard wasn't just any ATK member. He was the brother of Kenyatta Bullard, better known as Yungeen Ace, the leader of a TK Dot. Now imagine being Yungeen Ace in that moment. You're a young rapper trying to make it out of the hood. And suddenly, your little brother gets murdered in what's clearly gang retaliation. That kind of loss, that kind of pain, it changes a person forever.
Yeah, everybody.
A lot of what's the Yungeen Ace?
His boys.
Yeah, been dropping like 6 of them.
In the world of gang warfare, how you handle disrespect determines whether you survive or become a memory. When Yungeen Ace survived the shooting that took his brother's life, he had a choice to make: disappear from the streets or stand up and represent for his fallen homies. He chose to stand up, and that decision escalated the beef to levels nobody could have predicted. ATK, which stands for Ace's Top Killers, became synonymous with Yungeen Ace and his crew. On the other side, KTA, meaning Kill Them, all was Foolio's set. These weren't just rap groups, they were real street organizations, with real territory, real killers, and real bodies behind the names. The music was just the soundtrack to the violence playing out in real life. What made this beef even more dangerous was how it started. Spreading beyond just ATK and KTA, other Jacksonville gangs started picking sides, creating a web of alliances and enemies that turned the entire city into a war zone. Groups like 6 Block, which was part of KTW, and 1200, which aligned with 8, transformed Jacksonville into a chessboard, where the wrong move could cost you your life. As 2018 turned into 2019, the violence escalated. Willie Addison, known as Boss Goon, an ATK member, was killed in January 2019 outside Paradise Gentlemen's Club. But KTA wasn't done. That same month, Charles Quinton McCormack Jr., known as Lil Buck, a KTA member, was also killed. But perhaps the most heartbreaking loss came in February 2019, when Adrian Denard Gaynor Jr., known as Bibby, was murdered. Bibby wasn't just any KTA member, he was Foolio's 16-year-old brother. 16 years old, that's somebody's baby brother who should have been worried about homework and girls, not gang wars and retaliation. Bibby's death hit Foolio the same way Trevon's death hit Yungeen Ace. Now both leaders had lost their little brothers to the same senseless violence, but instead of their shared grief bringing peace, it only fueled the fire, and that fire exploded through their music. In 2020, ATK-affiliated rappers dropped a track called Who I Smoke, one of the most controversial drill songs ever made. This track didn't just mention dead rivals, it named them, disrespected them, and turned their deaths into a viral hook that racked up millions of views on YouTube. It wasn't just rap, beef anymore, it was psychological warfare set to a beat, digital warfare, and rising body counts. Let me be clear, this song wasn't a regular diss track. It named specific KTA members who had been murdered. Turning their deaths into a sing-along, they made entertainment out of tragedy, and profited off it. The cruelty was so calculated, it shocked even seasoned observers of gang culture. The Who I Smoke music video was like a trophy case of violence. It referenced at least 3 people who had been killed, and its imagery sent a chilling message to their enemies. We'll kill you, make money off your death, and then dance on your grave in front of the whole world. Obviously, KTA couldn't let that slide. Foolio responded with his own diss tracks, including When I See You, which escalated tensions even further. Even Jacksonville Sheriff Mike Williams commented, calling social media the modern version of 1980s gang graffiti, a public battlefield. While all this musical warfare was happening online, the real-life violence never stopped. In fact, it got worse. Every diss track, every disrespectful Instagram post, every tweet, it was like pouring gasoline on a raging fire. Each provocation demanded retaliation, and this wasn't just about drug turf or street corners anymore. This was about respect, reputation, and proving who was really the most dangerous crew in Jacksonville. When you put a bounty on someone's head through a rap song that gets millions of views, you make retaliation inevitable. Law enforcement was watching. They were monitoring both groups, taking screenshots, tracking lyrics, building cases, but proving a rap lyric is a confession. That's tricky. These guys aren't stupid. They know how to move in the shadows, how to communicate without leaving evidence, and how to keep their hands clean while deadly messages get sent. As we moved into 2021, 2022, and 2023, the violence simmered. More lives were lost, including Lawrence Davis in 2018, Adrian McKenzie in 2023, and Rico Osama Julian House also in 2023. Their gang affiliations weren't always clear, but what was clear was this: Jacksonville had become a war zone. Young black men were dying at an alarming rate, and it wasn't just gang members. Innocent bystanders were getting caught in the crossfire. Entire neighborhoods were living in fear. This wasn't just a gang problem, it was a community crisis. Meanwhile, both Yungeen Ace and Foolio were building music careers off this violence. Their most popular songs were the ones that referenced the beef, naming their enemies, detailing killings, and keeping the cycle going. They were profiting off the same conflict that was destroying their city, and the internet only made it worse. A single photo, a certain color worn in the wrong neighborhood, or a cryptic lyric could spark a deadly chain reaction. Social media turned every interaction into a potential trigger. Diss tracks were no longer just music, they were threats, obituaries, and challenges all rolled into one. The authorities were overwhelmed. Social media posts were being used as evidence, but proving intent or connection to real-world crimes remained difficult. By 2023, this beef had gained national attention. Hip-hop blogs were reporting every move. YouTube channels were breaking down lyrics for clues. True crime podcasts were telling the story like it was a Netflix show. What started as a local gang conflict had become entertainment for millions. But while fans were entertained, families were being destroyed. Burying sons, children were growing up without fathers. Communities were being shattered. And then it all came to a head. June 23, 2024, a date that would forever change the landscape of this war. Julio Foolio was celebrating his 26th birthday. Like many young people, he posted everything on social media, bottom of form.
It's so crazy because now I be putting the blame on me. I don't know if it's
survivor's remorse.
You know what I'm saying? And it's just like, because I insisted, like, look, bro, let's go out to eat. Like, it's your birthday.
Yeah.
It's my best friend's birthday. I'm like, it's your birthday, man.
Pool party start the day at 5, 6 o'clock. You already got the address, pull up, man. You got the address, pull up. If you need the address, DM me right now. The pool party start at 5, 6 o'clock.
He had survived multiple assassination attempts over the years, and everyone in the streets knew that ITK wanted him dead. Despite the danger, Foolio was living his life. He had over 1 million Instagram followers and 950,000 monthly listeners on his music was reaching fans around the world. And he had every reason to celebrate making it this far, despite everything. But the streets don't respect success, they don't respect birthdays, and they damn sure don't respect anyone who thinks they're untouchable. Foolio's 26th birthday celebration started in Jacksonville, but later moved to Tampa, about a 3.5-hour drive south. He had originally planned a pool party followed by an after party at an Airbnb. However, Police shut down the Airbnb gathering, forcing him and his crew to relocate to a hotel specifically, a home to suites by Hilton near the University of South Florida. Now here's where the story gets truly sinister. Court documents later revealed that 5 suspects had tracked Foolio from Jacksonville to Tampa, following him to every location he visited that night. This wasn't a random act of violence, it was a carefully planned execution. The suspects Sean Gathright, Rashad Murphy, Davion Murphy, Isaiah Chance, and Alicia Andrews coordinated their movements using surveillance footage and phone logs. They followed him to strip clubs. They monitored his social media posts. They waited patiently for the perfect moment to strike. That moment came at approximately 4:40 a.m. on June 23, 2024. Surveillance footage shows 3 masked gunmen armed with semi-automatic rifles and a pistol ambushing Foolio and his group. In the hotel parking lot, they fired at 2 vehicles with Foolio seated in the front passenger seat of one. He was struck multiple times and died at the scene. 3 others were injured but survived. The assassination was swift, brutal, and professional. These weren't random street thugs acting on impulse. These were organized killers who had meticulously planned every detail of the attack. Tampa Police Chief Lee Burko stated that the suspects, believed to be affiliated with ATK and 1200, had traveled to Tampa specifically to kill Foolio as an act of retaliation. The investigation that followed was massive. The Tampa Police Department worked with the Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, FBI, ATF, and local prosecutors to build the case. Authorities used surveillance footage from the hotel and Tampa nightclubs, phone records, license plate readers, and witness statements to identify the suspects. One of the most damning pieces of evidence was a text message sent by Rashad Murphy shortly after the murder, bragging about the killing, further indicating the premeditated nature of the crime. This wasn't just revenge. These killers were proud of what they had done. Arrests came swiftly. July 27, 2024, Sean Gathright, Isaiah Chance, and Alicia Andrews were apprehended in Jacksonville. July 30, 2024, Rashad Murphy was arrested following a standoff. 2025, to Davion Murphy, the final suspect, was captured. All 5 were charged with first-degree premeditated murder with a firearm and conspiracy to commit first-degree murder with a firearm. Even more significantly, the state of Florida has filed to seek the death penalty for 3 of them, Gathright, Chance, and Murphy. Court documents revealed a high level of planning. The suspects tracked Foolio's movements. They coordinated the ambush. Each person had a specific role, 3 shooters and 2 lookouts. Alicia Andrews allegedly provided her phone for communication, making her a key part of the conspiracy, even though she didn't pull the trigger. But here's where this story becomes even more tragic. The murder of Foolio didn't end the violence. It made things worse. Just 7 months later, on January 24, 2025, a 7-year-old boy, Brian Allen, was killed in crossfire linked to the same ongoing gang feud. 4 men, Keith Fields, Donnell Lenz, Keith Johnson, and Zaro Sykes, all affiliated with 6 Block, were arrested. They had allegedly targeted an ATK associate, but instead killed an innocent child, a 7-year-old. That's what this beef has come to, killing children. The motive was reportedly tied to a song called 6 Ways to Die, which disrespected 6 Block by referencing dead members, a clear example of how music continues to fuel this deadly cycle of retaliation. Foolio's murder had a profound impact on Jacksonville and the broader hip-hop community. Professor Andrew Carwell of Florida State College at Jacksonville wrote an opinion piece expressing shock that one of his top students, Sean Gathright, had been arrested for the murder. He emphasized the broader societal issue, how young lives are being destroyed and families shattered by senseless violence.
The ongoing fight between these 2 groups spilled over into Tampa last month. Let me be clear, the feud stops here. All 5 of these defendants are facing life in the Florida State Prison, even the ones who didn't pull the trigger. In Florida, if you participate in the planning of a murder, you can be held accountable for the person's death. And that is what we intend to do here. There were 3 people who pulled the trigger. You saw it on the video. 5 people, though, are charged with murder. The level of planning and coordination between these 5 defendants was truly alarming.
Now there's
Social media exploded with claims, including viral posts alleging that Ace paid $10,000 for the hit, fueling public perception and online debate. However, as of June 19, 2025, Yungeen Ace has not been charged with any crime related to Foolio. Murder.Ace has publicly denied any involvement. During an Instagram Live, he stated, "That's sad, I ain't gonna lie, bro. Leave the streets alone, playa. I don't condone stuff like that." He also revealed that he and Foolio were on good terms before the murder, directly contradicting the narrative that he had a motive or ordered the hit. The trials for Foolio's alleged killers are scheduled to begin in late 2025 and early 2026. All 5 suspects have been denied bond, with judges citing them as a serious danger to the community. The state's decision to pursue the death penalty for 3 of the suspects shows just how seriously they're taking this case. But here's the real tragedy: none of this had to happen. Foolio was just 26 years old when he was murdered. He had a successful music career, hundreds of thousands of fans, and was making real money doing what he loved. Instead of spending his birthday surrounded by friends and family, he died in a hotel parking lot, a casualty of a feud that started when he was barely out of high school. The cycle of violence continues. Research suggests that at least 10 people have been killed as a result of this ongoing conflict, and the actual number may be even higher. Brothers have lost brothers, mothers have buried their children, and entire communities now live in fear. All because young men can't let go of grudges that should have died. Years ago, the story of ATK versus KTA isn't just about gang beef. It's about poverty, lack of opportunity, and a culture that glorifies violence, trapping entire neighborhoods in endless cycles of death and destruction. It's about how social media and drill rap can turn local conflicts into global entertainment, while real people suffer and die. And that brings us to the end of this story. For more in-depth videos like this, click the cards on your screen.